without further ado, let me just show my screen here, which is going to be on the home site. So as you see here, basically where you log in. And just as a reminder, everybody is on listen only mode. So at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the question section of your dashboard here. And that way we can address those at the end. We'll answer those, get you on your way, and everybody will be happy. So while it's muted, feel free to type those in the section there. So again, back on the site, if you scroll up to the top, obviously you can log into your dashboard here, but you really don't even need to do that to get to access here. So if you go to Forms and Manuals under the Services and Support tab, you're just going to scroll down here and you're going to see Forms and the BIS Contractor application. Now, this is a completely fillable application. Basically, you can either print this out, you can fill it right here on your computer. Once you have that information all filled out, we do ask you to send those to Nicole Weech. So she'll be handling all these. Obviously, you have my information as well, and Sabreena will obviously share hers. But Nicole is going to be your contact, especially for submitting these applications, getting you quotes, and hopefully getting you some binders. So let me just head on back into the Services and Support tab. And while the application's over here on the left in Forms, the appetite guide is going to be over here under Manuals. So if you click that, that's going to jump you straight to the product guide here, or product appetite. And once it loads, you can just scroll down, and they break it down here so it's easy to read. It does seem like a lot, but bear with me here. They lay out the eligibility, payment options, and they begin to view some examples of the certain types of classifications. Oh, there we go. And different types of professions, what to look for, the details on each. So I think Sabreena would do a lot better job going through this than me. So without further ado, I think I'll turn over the reins to you, Sabreena. And let me just switch over, and then we can get you going. So you should have control now.
One second, Nick. And hello there. My name is Sabreena Ashraf, and I'm with BIS. And welcome. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. So I was going to ask you if you can see my screen, and hopefully
let's see.
You can see my screen now?
There you go. Yep, we got you.
Okay. So now hopefully everyone can see the screen. This is the product, our product guide that we have partnered up with J. Brown. So it's the J. Brown BIS product guide tailored for your needs. And I just want to provide some highlights of our product, talk about the forms, and hopefully get you guys comfortable with BIS. So our product is admitted. It's for small contractors, admitted product. And right here are the highlights. I'm sorry, let me just move this a little bit.
If you want to hit the zoom out button, I think that might help a little bit.
The zoom out.
So up at the top there, where
right
the 139, where the 139% is, sort of up in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I see it now. Yeah.
No, so if you do the minus, I'm sorry.
This is better?
Yeah, that's better. It was just too zoomed in. There we go. A little bit more.
Okay.
Should be fine.
Okay. Right here?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. So our product, we are admitted. We offer, with J. Brown, we are offering 10% commission. We can go up to 2-4 limits in up to 2-4. Most commonly, though, 1-2, and then 2-4 is an underwriting approval. The terrorism is included. Depending on the state, premiums can be as low as $500, but for California, the minimum premium is $750, and we audit up and down. So with the program, once you find it, we do have a telephone survey on some classes, not all, and but that's also going away in the near future. One of the updates that we are doing is to have a mail-in survey. We audit up and down. The audits are done by mail, and if you're overestimated, we do give money back. we can also add the inland marine to your GL product. We have the free, the blanket AI for ongoing primary and waiver added on every policy. We have lots of discounts available and many payment options, depending on how J. Brown bills it. So about us, we are an A- company. The writing paper is Developer Surety and Indemnity Company, and we are actually owned by AmTrust, and you'll see that when we talk about the discounts. Going from there, from an eligibility standpoint, we have a lot of options for you from an eligibility standpoint. So for all classes of business, we can go up to 10 million in sales. For home builders, we are actually at 25 million in sales. So think about it, it's an admitted product for a new home builder, and we can go up to 25 million in sales, so we can do some significant damage right there. We don't ask for loss runs. However, we do ask you to verify the losses, and we usually don't take more than one liability loss in 3 years. Having said that, it depends on the loss. So if it was $200,000 CD claim and we're only looking at $1,000 worth of premium, then it might not make sense. But, if it was a smaller claim and overall account is very clean, then we can make an exception, or we can live with that. We do ask for 3 years in experience. So we allow new ventures to be part of our program. However, we do ask to verify the experience prior to that to make sure that they are experienced. And for classes that need to be licensed, we do ask for the license, information, so we can run the for the contractor's license. I'm going to jump to the ineligible classes because that's what sticks out. We are a very vanilla. We offer product quotes for most of your vanilla contractors, so your HVAC, electrical, and all that. Where we really stand apart are your residential home builders and your residential remodelers. Having said that, there are certain ones that are not eligible, certain contractors. Construction managers. So if the insured is a construction manager and they're not hiring their own sub, the homeowner is hiring their own sub, or the remodel, if it's a remodel job, the owner is hiring their own sub, then that is not eligible for our program. We do not like building envelope guys on a standalone basis. So suppose, or they're working as a sub. Roofers, siders, framers, window, doors, skylight, gutters, so any of those exterior work, if they're working on a standalone basis, if they're working as a sub, that is not eligible. We like our guys to work inside, and if they're working on the outside, mostly to work as a GC. We do have availability in certain states like Illinois and Michigan, so those territories are not eligible. We are not a market for residential plumbers. We are a market for commercial plumbers, but really don't see much commercial plumbers around. We do consider apartments to be residential. So, really we're not a market for plumbers. Street and road guys are not eligible. Waterproofing, excavation, grader, and apartment builders, those are not eligible unless it's less than 4 units. But I really don't see that. I haven't seen that too much. Apartment builders less than 4 units. So not a market for apartment builders also. Payment plans, a lot available. You can do agency bill, you can do direct bill, depending on what you choose. Insured can be paid by credit card, debit card. They can pay by phone, they can pay by checking, savings, however they choose. And you can choose up a recurring payment. We do have a fee. It's I actually don't remember the installment. It's $8. It's right here. So we do have a fee of $8, but you can set up a recurring payment. Okay. The other thing that we do like are paper contractors. So if we will take paper contractors, but we do have strict requirements for the subcontrols. The form ID 0006, it's a proprietary form, refers to it. and we do have hold harmless indemnity agreements we do require them to be in place. We do require the contractor to be added as an AI on the subs policies, and we have cert requirements. We have the subs GL requirements. So when you do get a quote, you also have get a copy of the sample policy, and you do want to take a look at the forms, ID 0006 being one of them. These are the states. Ignore this part right here, the optional sunset, because that's an optional coverage, not something that you would ever see. But these are the minimum premiums for regular GL. These are the minimum premiums for home builders. And we have the ability to add credits and debits on certain, depending on the state allowance. For California, the owner payroll varies, and that means that for certain classes, we have the 33.6. For certain classes, we are at lower. And so you don't have to think about it when you rate it. All we ask you is the number of owners. So, and you have to tell us the number of active owners, and, and the system does it behind the scenes. So don't be too bothered by this. I want to go over the classes first and then talk about some of the forms and do it a little backwards, but I think it makes more sense if we do that. So residential new construction. So our main classes are the GC classes right here, and I'm going to go over the trade classes afterwards. But for the GC classes, where we really see a lot of hits are the residential new and the residential remodel. The residential new construction, we are comfortable with up to 10 homes in a subdivision. So in a tract-like setting, we are comfortable with up to 10 homes. It does require underwriting approval. We will ask you a lot of information. But having said that, we are still comfortable with that. We do allow construction projects, the construction cost to be up to $3 million in $3 million. So this is not the cost of land, just replacement cost for the building. We allow spec home builders. Yes.
Sorry, just since there's so many classes here, do you think we could zoom out a little bit more just to show everything here?
Absolutely. And so these are the classes.
That right there is perfect. Yeah, there you go. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So we allow we do allow spec home builders. We ask you about it in the rating, but we allow spec home builders, we allow flippers, and we can do project-specific policies for up to 3 years. We don't have a class limitation endorsement, but we do underwrite based on one class code. So, if the class changes, then we do ask you questions. If they're licensed for more than one trade, for example, if they're a BN and an electrician, we'll ask you a little more question on that. But just keep that in mind. We do rate on one class code. Nick, did you want me to talk about the warranty product or no?
Yeah, sure. We won't take too long, so I think we got time for that.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to skip over it, and then should the need arise, we can always talk more about it when the deal is going through. So this is the product. So here, this is for the smaller subdivisions. If we're doing a larger subdivision, so about 26 homes or less, and the sales costs are higher, then we have a warranty product where it's a builder-back warranty. We work with a company called PWS, Professional Warranty Services, who does the administrative work on it. And all it is we enrolled insured in this product. We enrolled insured with this product at issuance of the policy, and every time the insured completes a home, that home gets enrolled in the agreement. What that means is the homeowner then has the legal liability to actually allow the home builder to fix any defect rather than come to us. It is $215 per home, and it's a companion builder-back warranty that's issued to the home buyer. And it is transferable if they sell the home, and it stays there for the statute of repose of the policy. So, for example, in California, it is applicable for 10 years. This does allow some remodeling work, and project-specific policies are available. It was very, very brief with that. Did you want me to expand a little bit on that, or?
I think that's good. Got the main points in there, so we can keep rolling along if that works.
Okay, perfect. So on the remodel class, some things to remember. We do allow handyman. This is where I'm looking at, the remodel class right here. So on the remodel class, we allow handyman to be part of this, to be a remodeler. And if they're not required to be licensed, then that's fine. But we do have the limitation in the whole policy that if the insured is required to be licensed, they should be licensed. We will not take we will exclude unlicensed work if they are required to be licensed by the state. So for remodelers, we allow handymen who are not required to be licensed, and we will include addition work. They can do complete gutting and remodeling, and that's absolutely fine. Also here, we target construction projects less than $2 million or $3 million, depending on, it's an exception, but we do allow it, depending on the expertise of the contractor. And we will also do, we don't do project-specific policies. And then if they are a flipper, then the spec home charge applies. But but that's by far one of our main classes. The new construction and the remodel classes are by far our main classes for residential home builder or on the residential side. We do have commercial new construction, and for the commercial new construction, this is mainly your TIB type home, offices, or they're building a strip mall or something like that. That's the type of that's the type of work that's usually contemplated in that. We do allow commercial remodelers, so if they're doing not TIB. This is building a new office building or something like that. The TIB is for the commercial remodel class. And, pretty self-explanatory, but do remember that apartments and hotels and motels are considered residential due to the usage. So if they are building new residential, new apartments or new hotels or remodeling those, that would fall under the residential remodel or the residential new class code, residential new construction class code. Let's skip over to the trade classes. The trade classes are pretty simple. What we write the most of are your carpentry interior guys. So, for example, the cabinet guys and the wood finish guys. We are not framing contractors or siding contractors are not eligible. We do write a lot of that. We write quite a bit of concrete guys, not the bridge work or any of the ineligible types of work are listed here. But if they're doing some sort of gazebo in a landscaping situation or something like that, that's fine. We write a lot of the driveway, parking area, sidewalk construction guys. So not on major streets or something like that, but if they're doing individual driveways and all that, that's usually acceptable. Drywall or wallboard installation guys. Electrical work. This is by far one of our main classes. So that's available. Fence erection, floor covering installation. No non-pre-finished wood installation. So that's not eligible. And if they're doing wood floor refinishing, that's also ineligible. But other than that, that's okay. Oh, also no hydronic heating installation. So if they're doing the tiles with the water heaters underneath, that's not eligible. The furniture fixture installation, that's okay. We, however, don't like any type of commercial work in hospitals or ADA bathrooms and all that. So, keep that in mind. This is also garage door installation. This is also one of our main classes. We do write quite a bit of that. HVAC, we also write quite a bit of. We do allow janitorial. So work in retail establishment is not eligible, but housekeepers are eligible. And so, janitorial works for us. Landscape gardening, I see a ton of this. We do have the herbicide, pesticide application endorsement available, added on every policy for landscape gardening and for lawn and garden guys. So those two. We do see quite a bit of masonry work. The other ones that we see quite a bit of are the painting exterior and the painting interior. For the painting guys, we do not have an overspray exclusion, and the per claim deductible does not apply. It's an occurrence deductible. So that's a big hook for most of our insureds, because, you know, those two are pretty significant coverages that we offer. We do say we like commercial plumbing, but truly haven't seen a lot of commercial plumbers. So while this class is filed, it's not used significantly. And then sign erection, tile guys, and window cleaning guys. We have an option for solar panel installers, but they do have a action over exclusion on that. There is a roof, they cannot be doing any roofing, and we have a water intrusion sublimit of $25,000 on this policy. So, you know, it is coverage, it's an admitted option, but there are some limitations. We can also add your inland marine to your GL. It has to be in conjunction with the GL. It cannot be standalone. And these are the product highlights. So we offer some property at your premises, so BPP limits, and we throw in a couple of other other coverages, for example, personal property, valuable papers, and all that. We have some contractors' tools and equipment, so unscheduled, scheduled, non-owned employee tools rental cost reimbursement. We offer some contractors' installation coverage and computer coverage. So that's pretty much from a coverage standpoint. I would like to go over some of the forms that I skipped over previously. So first, I would like to talk about the discounts that are available. We are owned by AmTrust. So if it is an AmTrust company where the insured has a bond with, we offer a $50 discount. And so you would want to tell us about that. We do allow a discount if the insured runs credit. If the score is over 625, then a 10% credit is applied. If the score is over 775, an additional 10% is applied. So overall, up to a 20% swing. For the remodeling class, there is an exclusion of construction for new residences. Keep in mind, though, if the insured is working as a subcontractor for some other thing, for example, they're doing some cabinet work on new residential, that's excluded too, but there is a discount for that. So you can also have defense within limits, that's a discount. You can have an elective prior work exclusion, that's a discount. You can have sunset, additional discount. You can have the action over exclusion. For the painters, electricians, ceiling and wall installers, and some of them, if they're doing more than 80% commercial, there is a huge discount. And then we have the credits and debits available. Some other options, and I think it's important to talk about these. We do offer hired non-owned, except for California. So if you're a California producer, it doesn't make sense to know about it. So for condo work, normally condo work is limited or excluded, but for certain classes, we allow new construction condo work, for example, and it's starred in the classification page. We have a form called ID 0046, and this is important to note. So for our artisan guys, we only allow work up to 4 homes in a subdivision. So suppose they're working for, not for artisan, not in a subdivision. for when they're doing as an artisan, if they're working on new construction and they're working as an artisan electrical contractor, for example, the base policy only allows up to 4 homes work on up to 4 homes in that policy or in that subdivision. Should the insured choose to work on more, or should the subdivision be larger? We need to know about it because we need to increase the number of homes that they can work on. If they're building, then it shouldn't exceed more than 10 during we say during all policy periods, but it's a 10 per project if they're building. Does that make sense, or do you want me to go over that again?
No, I think that makes sense. If anybody has questions, they can obviously, type those in the question portion, and we can come back around at the end and address those. But I think we'll be good for now.
Okay. For rentals, so for apartments, that same logic applies, but it's only up to 14 units per rental complex for the trade classes. We don't allow builders, apartment builders really, unless it's less than 4. So it's almost a moot point. But for the trade classes, it's up to 14 homes per rental complex. We allow limited subsidence coverage. Subsidence is excluded on the policy, but using the ID 0053, the minimum is a $250,000 subsidence coverage, and then you can increase it depending on the referral. It has to be referred to underwriting. So Nicole would be able to refer it to us. We do have a job site injury limitation or coverage. It applies to the warranty product that I was talking about with a $250,000 sublimit. That product does not have an action over exclusion. So this is our way of, giving that coverage. We have an enhancement endorsement available. The enhancement endorsement of it's $250 per every time you endorse it for every policy, and it offers some care, custody, and control. Contractors no up to $10,000 aggregate. Damage to premises rented to use increased to $300,000. It's normally at $100,000, and then BI includes mental anguish. And there's a lot of other coverages, but those are the main ones. We can add employee benefits liability up to $250 per policy. For Washington, there's a stopgap coverage available. So if the insured for this prior work exclusion, mandatory prior work exclusion, if the insured is new in business, or if they did not have prior coverage, or there's a gap in coverage, or if it was with a risk retention group or a B or lower rating company, then we will add a mandatory prior work exclusion. However, should you choose to add a prior work exclusion, you can, and there is an elective form too. But this is something we will add on in the event of these situations where there was no coverage before. We can do per project ag. We can add vacant lots. We can add unsold homes, and we can add. We have the spec home charge for flippers and spec home builders. This is important. So we do offer. We have the occurrence occurrence aggregate sublimited at 1 mil, 2 mil normally, but for water intrusion, so we do sublimit it at 25,000. Water intrusion sublimit applies to products completed ops when there is an intrusion from the outside to the inside. A great example is if our GC is a new home builder and he also did the framing, that's the only time we'll allow a framing work to be done by our insured, is if they're a home builder or if they are a remodeler and they're not doing any standalone work. But if the framing was faulty in some way and there was water intrusion from the outside to the inside, then that water intrusion is sublimited to $25,000. With somebody like that, I always recommend higher coverage, and you can always ask us to increase that sublimit to $1 million to match the policy limit. Same thing with the ID 0014 with the subcontractor. So suppose it's a GC again, and they have some subcontractors who are doing whatever work. That subcontractor's work is sublimited to $100,000 of water intrusion, and you can choose to remove it by removing the ID 0014. Keep that in mind. If you see these forms, read it and ask questions, because there might be a water intrusion sublimit that applies. And if I believe if you don't have these forms, that means that it's you can just then it's policy limits for the subcontractor and the contractor. We do have this one right here. We do have a continuous and progressive or a manifestation trigger on our policies. What I see mostly in California is a continuous and progressive trigger, and I believe J.A. Brown is defaulted to a continuous and progressive trigger. And that is, and then on every policy, I'm referring to the additional interest on this page at the bottom right. On every policy, the ID 0037 or the ID 0137, depending on the state, is automatically included, and it gives you ongoing, free ongoing blanket AI with primary non-contributory and waiver of subrogation. And you have the option to add the CG 2010 should the need arise, the CG 2037 should the need arise, the 2404, 2011, 2001, all those if your GC is requiring it and you're working as a sub. We do have another proprietary form, the ID 2037, that has a negligence standard, but the coverage could be a little bit less than the CG 2037. But if we have all the contractors forms that are usually needed by contractors available to you for additional charge. And it is on a case-by-case basis, unless it's a commercial one, and then we have the option to blanket it. But that's pretty much the program in a nutshell. I'm sure there are questions, so please feel free to type your questions right now.
Yeah, we'll give it about a minute or two for those questions to roll in case anyone has any last minute, and then we can address those here. So, Sabreena, let me change it back over to my screen, and then I can show this here. Yeah. Okay, so they should be looking at my screen now, which is the product guide here. And then let me just pop out these questions. We'll see what everyone came up with. Okay, so let's see, to start. Okay, so we do have a few questions in terms of the copy of the presentation. If you did, roll in late, maybe you weren't able to, make this webinar, just go ahead and you can shoot me an email or give our office a call. They'll connect you with me, and I'll go ahead and get you a copy of the webinar. We'll probably have a recording on our YouTube channel, hopefully soon, but just let me know or type it in the question section here, and I'll make a note of it, and I'll contact you via email. So in terms of, let's see, the products here. So it looks like exterior painting. So Sabreena, this is probably one you'll be able to answer here. Now, I believe there's a discount for exterior, but they're asking, do you guys look for more of the commercial or the residential painters?
It doesn't matter if it's commercial or residential, but with an exterior guy, if they're doing interior and exterior, we look for the majority of the work. But commercial versus, we don't like high rises, so if they're doing a high rise commercial, that's probably not going to be a fit for us.
Okay, gotcha. All right, and then let's see. It says, can you write vacant property with this carrier too? So right now we just have the small contractors program, so no vacants right now. But if you are looking for a vacant market, we have American Modern, AU Gold, CSE, all those via our site. So that's.
If Nick, let me just chime in there. If the insured has a spec home that's vacant, and they just built it and they're waiting to sell it, and the insured is a contractor, as long as they're a contractor and we are insuring the rest of the business, we can add it on for a little bit, but we are not a market for just vacant property.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, maybe I misunderstood that question there. So that's actually a good piece of information. So thank you for that. Let me see if there's any more here. Okay, so turnaround time. I would say, 24 to 48 hours, depending on the time of day that we get that quote in. Again, please email those to Nicole Weech in our office. Her email is at the top of the application. And in terms of the Accord that you need, we ask that you use the app in our services and support tab. Again, under manuals and forms, and then that has everything you need on that app, and we can get you a quote. That's the quickest, most efficient way. So let's see. In terms of other questions, I think we got all the coverage ones out of the way, other than people just requesting, the recording. So looks like you did a good job, Sabreena. I really appreciate all the info you went over, and I feel like we got a lot in a not too long a time.
Sure. Thank you so much for attending. And my contact information is also with Nick. So, if you want to shoot an email to him, I'd be happy to walk you through the product if you have more questions.
I appreciate that, Sabreena. Yeah, and I'll email those who are dropping them in the question section here. I can actually see them rolling in for the copies of the slides. So I'll be reaching out to everyone here. But without further ado, we'll let you get on your way. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to check us out on the webinar here. And again, they're listed on our site for future webinars. So other than that, thank you, Sabreena, and everyone have a great day.